How much of this stuff is true about an Indian company taking over KTM and moving everything to India so that these things become Indian pieces of shit? Is KTM still even Austrian? Let's face it, KTM has essentially been bought off by India. Let's jump into what this means. So in the last few months, 6 or 7 months, we've really found out that KTM has been in some serious trouble financially. They were essentially billions of dollars in debt and went into a restructuring thing where they got a 900 million euro bailout from Bajaj Auto, which is an Indian company. We're talking hundreds of millions of euros in debt, and they couldn't pay anything, and it got pretty bad. So that's when this Bajaj Auto, an Indian motorcycle company, steps in. In fact, they were a longtime partner with KTM, and they step in with a massive cash injection of over 800 million euros in total, and it saved KTM from complete financial collapse. So now in my research, it looks like Bajaj Auto has the call option to take over 50% ownership in Pierre Bajaj AG, which is the holding company that owns KTM. So you've got KTM, and then you have, above it, you have like this Pierre Mobility. Above that, you have the entity called Pierre Bajaj AG. It's the holding company that owns the holding company. And if they exercise that option, they basically become the new boss. So Stefan Pierre, the guy who's been behind KTM, calling probably most of the shots for the last 30 years, he's out. He is now working for somebody else, which is this Bajaj Auto. So to be clear, this isn't just about money. This is who controls the shots globally for KTM. Guess what? I'm still giving away this 2025 KTM 250XC, and this thing was made in Austria for sure. And if you click on the link right down here or go to my website, dirtbikechannel.com, before the end of June, which is in just a few short hours, you can enter to win that sucker. I'm doubling all entries to win this thing. So go over to my website right now and get entered to win that bike. So the natural question is, are they going to move the production of these amazing enduro and like off-road and motocross bikes that we love? Are they gonna move that production to India? That's what everyone wants to know. And the answer that I've been able to get so far, at least for right now, is not really, especially for the bikes that we care about. So let me explain. According to my research, KTM already makes the small bikes like the 200 and the 250 and the 390 Duke, those street bikes, or the kind of like, they're like the Super Dukes or whatever. They already make those in India through Bajaj. So that's nothing new. But the bikes that we really care about, like the XCs and the XCWs and the SXFs and all of those bikes, the enduro bikes, the motocross bikes, those are supposed to still be designed and manufactured and everything in Austria, where like the brain trust of those types of bikes are. That's supposed to stay in Austria, at least from everything that I've gotten. The lower end models are, a lot of those have already been being made in India, and the higher end stuff, the stuff that we care more about, that stuff is supposed to stay in Austria. That's the performance hub, and that's their identity, and I'm just crossing my fingers there. So yeah, KTM is still gonna be Austrian in terms of engineering and design and manufacturing of the higher end models, but if Bajaj Auto takes full control of the company next year, it's a KTM, it's an Austrian company that's owned by an Indian entity. That's a mouthful. Other brands have done something like this, Jaguar and Volvo and Ducati. These are iconic brands that are owned by global companies today. But for riders in the US, the question that I'm getting all over in my email is, does this change the bikes that we ride, the quality, the performance? And I think the answer is not really. I don't think it's changing much for us in the enduro market, in the off-road market, in the motocross market. I think KTM is going to keep that stuff in Austria, keep the manufacturing there, the design, all that stuff. And so we shouldn't experience that much of an impact in the bikes that we care about. If you're able to go out there and find a 2025 KTM, it was produced last year before they stopped all of their production, and that was all made in Austria. And then any of the 2026s that you're gonna find, they are still made in Austria. They're making them right now, and I think they're gonna ship either late this year or early next year for the 2026 models, and those will be made in Austria because that's where all the tooling is, that's where all the manufacturing is. Everything is still there in Austria for those bikes. One interesting thing I've been looking about MotoGP, that might change in 2026, like KTM's involvement in MotoGP after 2026 is going to be touch and go. And I think that the racing teams here in the US, I think that they're different entities that are owned here in the US. And I think that that is the little bits and pieces that I've been able to like glean here and there, is that they work in conjunction with factory support from Austria. But those are companies here in the US that are held here in the US that aren't as affected by all that, the debt and insolvency in Europe. But as far as our next like desert bikes or cross-country bikes or trail bikes, the XCs, the XCWs and all that kind of stuff, It's still Austrian. It's just a KTM with a new boss, essentially. So I'd love to know what you guys think. If you want to contact me, the best way to get me is on email. It's kyle@dirtbikechannel.com. I really don't check in with comments on social media or on YouTube or whatever. So you can always email me. And if you want to schedule a call with me, I've got a scheduling place on my website. Also, I'm giving away a KTM, a 2025 KTM 250XC right now. Today is Sunday, June 29th when I'm recording this video, and the sweepstakes for that closes tomorrow on June 30th, so you have just a little teeny bit to get entered for that. The margins on this sucker are so tight, I don't even have my next bike. I've never been this deep into a sweepstakes when I haven't already purchased the next bike, but I don't have another bike. So as of tomorrow, when the sweepstakes closes, I technically won't even own my own dirt bike. And I'm just hoping that we get enough uptake on the last day and a half here where I can go buy another one. But I don't have one right now. So if you guys like these videos, please like, share, subscribe, all that other kind of stuff. And yeah, I think KTM is in a shite ton of trouble, but I think they're gonna pull through this with this injection from this Bajaj Auto. But it's not good. It's not good. I did a video on it about a month ago. And it's not been great, but I do think that the bikes that we care about are pretty safe. So, okay, until next time, leave a single track.